Hi, I'm Elizabeth Brown, the Kitchen Vixen, and today we're going to talk about look at that watermelon growing on the vine. Oh, how I wished it was mine. We're going to make a tropical mint weight loss smoothie, and we're going to use some of those same ingredients to marinate our pasture-raised chicken. We're going to learn how and why to use nearly every part of the watermelon, and we're even going to take some watermelon and make a topical sun damage protector for our commute to work. And then we're going to join my trainer Simon for a watermelon workout. There's so much to experience and learn when you watch me, the Kitchen Vixen. Okay, so my obsession with watermelon started about 10 or 11 years ago when my cameraman Tom told me how they eat watermelon after his Qigong classes. And so I did some research and I was curious, like, what's the thing about watermelon and the association? And first of all, watermelon is 90 to 95% water by weight, so it's very hydrating. And it is rich in an amino acid called citrulline. In fact, the primary name for watermelon or any vine-like plant is Citralis, and watermelon is Citralis latanus. But so it has to do with citrulline, and the citrulline is important because it's not an essential amino acid, but it is a precursor for arginine, which is an essential amino acid, which is responsible for the conversion to nitric oxide in our body. And nitric oxide actually works as a vasodilator. It helps make our blood vessels bigger so that, especially for actually pre-exercise, if our blood vessels are larger, that means less pressure is needed to get blood through the body, oxygenated blood, nutrient-rich blood to working muscles. And then post-exercise, that actually helps with recovery as well. So I have this watermelon that's actually a little overripe, and instead of wasting it, which I don't enjoy the taste of it on its own, I thought, well, I'll just put it in a smoothie I created about 10 years ago with watermelon and mint and coconut, and it's this wonderful flavor. As far as how much watermelon you want to use, it's really up to you. 1 cup is 85 calories, which is not a big deal. It also provides almost 2 grams of protein and 37% of your daily need for vitamin C and 35% for vitamin A. But that vitamin A is really just the carotenoids like beta carotene. It also is known for, and one of the richest sources of lycopene. And so lycopene is a carotenoid. It's not a precursor to vitamin A like beta carotene, but it is an antioxidant that helps to fight free radicals. So it's going to help us protect us from things like heart disease and cancer and sun damage. So that's going to lead into our last segment where we're going to talk about making a watermelon sort of a sunscreen. So put about 1 or 2 cups of watermelon in here, and then I'm going to add about 20 mint leaves. So the mint provides a nice cooling complementary flavor to the watermelon. And the mint says, watermelon, you're looking rather cool and calm today, considering you're about to be pureed and pulverized. And the watermelon says, well, mint, I don't know what pureed or pulverized means, but thank you for the compliment. And then I'm adding, sorry, I'm a dork. And then I'm adding coconut, which is where the tropical element comes in. And that just adds good flavor. I'm on the fence about coconut's health benefits. But I am adding some garbanzo beans. This is a source of protein. So in that 1/4 cup, we're gonna add some protein, and it's not going to affect the flavor, but it does affect the nutrition because garbanzo beans are rich in B vitamins, which we need for energy. You get fiber, and of course you get the protein. Now we're adding some flaxseed for some more protein. Actually, it's a combination of flax and chia seeds because I'm on the fence. They're equally as nutritious, and I grind all of them together, whether it's flax, chia, or hemp. Grinding it will help release those omega-3s and make them more bioavailable to your body. And it's those omega-3s that we know of as helping with reduced inflammation, so they're anti-inflammatory. And then I'm adding some nutritional yeast, which is a good source of B vitamins and extra protein. And I'm actually one of the first references on Wikipedia for nutritional yeast, so I'm a big fan of it. I've been writing about it for 20 years. Next, I have some sunflower seeds for some vitamin E, which is another antioxidant that helps to squelch out free radicals in our body. And then I'm adding I use soy milk, or if I use dairy milk, I would use milk from grass-fed cows, but I have about 1 cup. You can use almond milk, or you can use yogurt, and you can use Greek yogurt. Just keep in mind that yogurt, soy milk, dairy milk, they will add protein, so that will affect the protein content of our smoothie. If you choose almond milk, you don't get any protein, so that's the downfall. Now we just set this on top. Okay, and the last thing to really boost up the nutrition in our smoothie is some extra leafy greens. Now, even though I call this a weight loss smoothie, this could be used in addition to your meals, so it could promote weight gain if you're eating well. This is going to provide about 400 calories, 26 grams of muscle building protein. You can add a scoop of protein powder for another 25 grams of protein, but I'm trying to keep it simple. And it's also a good way to just use up some things that you might want to get rid of anyway, like if your greens are going bad, or if you're, like I said, your watermelon's overripe, which, by the way, overripe watermelon is actually richer in lycopene. So it's better to let it be overripe and then use it, because then you get more antioxidants out of it. All right, so we're just gonna blend it up. Now, another tip about the watermelon, if it's overripe and you're not gonna use it right away, I will often puree it and put it in my ice cube trays. I like metal ice cube trays because my dad always had them, so it reminds me of my childhood. Okay, let's give it a taste test. Now, since I use a regular blender, I still get chunks in here, but I like chunks in my smoothies, actually. It's so good. I don't taste the garbanzo beans, but I taste the sunflower seeds, the mint, and the watermelon, and the coconut. So it's a nice flavor combination. Not that you have to know all of the nutrition that's in this smoothie, but keep in mind that you get almost everything you need for the day in this one smoothie that costs you $1.82 to make yourself. 418 calories, 26 grams of protein. And the thing I want to point out is that if you use the seeds, which it's hard to find seeded watermelon these days, I'm kind of disappointed, because the seeds add a lot of great nutrition. When you add the seeds, you get extra copper. It goes from 19 to 21%. You get extra iron up to 50%, extra magnesium, 46%, extra phosphorus and potassium. But the biggest thing I see is how much more zinc you get, 5% more zinc from just a couple little seeds that you would otherwise spit out. So don't spit those seeds out, use them in your smoothie. Try to find seeded watermelons for all that extra nutrition. No, a watermelon is not gonna grow in your stomach, even though that's what your mom's told you. And we're gonna work with my trainer anyway, so we'll get rid of that watermelon belly no matter what. So all this nutrition from this one little smoothie. Okay, I'm gonna make a watermelon marinade, but I also wanna tell you about the selection and storage of your watermelon. And what you're supposed to look for is like maybe a yellow spot on the melon that tells you it's been setting in the ground for a while, so then you know it's probably pretty ripe. If there's still a stem attached, there might be an indentation at the stem end. And then experts say that you can tap on it and maybe hear more of a bass versus a soprano sound. A bass means that's a little older. Older means a little sweeter. Also means that there's more lycopene, again, that antioxidant that we're looking for. This is one of the richest sources, by the way, even better than tomatoes. And there are only a few foods that are rich in lycopene, aside from tomatoes, watermelon, guava, papaya, and one of my favorites is pink grapefruit. I eat grapefruit every day. So again, I have some of this overly ripe watermelon that I'm trying to use up. So I created this marinade recipe. So we're just gonna take about a cup of watermelon. I'm just guessing, because I'm just trying to use it up. Don't forget, we're not done. We're still gonna make a little sunscreen at the end of this show. And we're gonna also do something with the rind, so stay tuned. So about a cup of watermelon, and then we'll add about a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar and a tablespoon of soy sauce, a little salt and sweet to balance the flavors, a little oil, because you need oil in your marinade, which pulls all the flavors together so things don't kind of float out in midair, makes everything mesh. And then some pepper, I like pepper, for a little spice, and then a little garlic for some more little bite. And then some more of those mint leaves. Remember I told you I bought a whole bunch of mint, so I wanna use it up. And we're gonna use about a handful, which is about a tablespoon. Just throw it in there. And the juice of 1 lemon. Turn on the blender. And just like everything you make, you probably should taste it before you apply it to your finished product. It is a nice balance of sweet and salty. It's perfect. A little bit of tang with the garlic. So then we're gonna use it to marinate our chicken. And you wanna marinate your chicken for about 2 to 24 hours. Okay, so I already had some chicken that I've been marinating. These are chicken thighs. I like dark meat for extra iron. And I've been marinating these for actually over a day, so they're gonna have a wonderful flavor. So we're gonna grill them in our grill pan and make a wonderful watermelon mint salsa to accompany. It's gonna be delicious. Okay, so now we're gonna make a nice salsa, a watermelon mint salsa, using some of those same ingredients to accompany our watermelon mint marinated chicken thighs. And I did mention about selection, but I forgot to mention about the storage of your watermelon, because once you cut it, you can keep it cut in the fridge. You can keep it wrapped in plastic, but you do need to refrigerate it because watermelon is rich in vitamin C. It's rich in beta carotene and it's rich in B6, and those are all nutrients that are susceptible to heat. So you want to protect those nutrients because they will dissipate. So I'm just using some of the watermelon that we have, making it into a small dice, but cutting it right inside the watermelon rind. And then we're going to use that watermelon in one last recipe. We're going to use the rind. Okay, so we're adding about like a cup of watermelon, maybe 2 cups. It's up to you, with some sliced red onion and a little bit of salt and pepper. Maybe about 1/8 of a teaspoon. About 2 teaspoons of honey, maybe 1, 2. Okay. And then we have the juice of 1 lemon. A little bit of olive oil. I use a little bit of fat here because you could eat this salsa on its own, and fat helps you absorb the nutrients like the beta carotene and the lycopene. So I'm adding some more mint to use up some of that mint. Okay, so we get this beautiful, lovely watermelon salsa to accompany our grilled chicken. Makes a great flavor combination. That's delicious. Okay, Simon, so let's reiterate for our viewers, what exercises can we do using a watermelon, or instead this more safe ball?
Well, if it's a watermelon, we're not going to throw it around, but if we use a ball, we can alternate between some of the big compound movements we've done, so like our squats, and also we did our lunges with our twist, and if we alternate those with some of the throws against the wall and the slams into the ground, so we go squat, throw, lunge, throw, and just keep those flowing together, boom, 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 boom. We could do that for like 15-20 minutes and have a great workout with a single piece of kit.
Sounds like we'll really get our heart rate up too, right?
Oh, certainly will.
Okay, so as promised, we're gonna use every bit of the watermelon. So in my research to learn more about the watermelon, the lycopene and the vitamin C, I also learned about the rind and how it's edible. In fact, you could take the rind and you could chop it up and saute it with your vegetables, with onion and garlic, and add it to your favorite stir fry. Apparently it's like adding, well, I guess if you could add it to a salad, it'd be like adding cucumber, but I haven't tried it myself, but I am going to use it in a fermentation solution because watermelon hails from Africa, where maybe sometimes food is scarce, so they use everything, and refrigeration might be an issue. So fermenting is one way to preserve food. Now, before we chop up the rind and we're going to pickle it and ferment it, we're going to make sure we get every last bit of the flesh out, and that flesh is going to be used for our last part, which is to make a sort of sunscreen. So I already cut off the green part. Okay, we don't really need that. We're not going to eat that. It probably is edible. I haven't found anything about that in particular. Then we're going to take the rind and just chop it. And apparently with the pickling, you can use any type of jar. I did have some ball jars, which are pretty well known for canning. And then I bought some specific fermentation lids, but you don't even need those for this case. And then you can just chop them up any way you like. I mean, I'm just doing a small to medium dice. Now what you need to do is you need a solution. Now this is the key part. Now apparently there is some bacteria on the watermelon, and that's what's going to help ferment. But I also saved some whey from my yogurt because apparently that will make it ferment faster. So to the jar, we're just gonna add some dill and garlic, because we think of dill and garlic with pickles, so it'll give us a good flavor. Then we add some of the pieces of the watermelon. Okay, so to make the pickling, you really just need 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt for every cup of water. And since I'm just gonna do one jar right now, that's what I'm gonna do. Also, you could use 2 tablespoons of sea salt for 4 cups of water if you know you're gonna make a big batch. So I'm gonna dissolve the salt. Now apparently there is enough bacteria on the watermelon itself to promote the fermentation process, but just to be on the safe side, I'm also gonna add some of my whey. So let me add the water first. You wanna add enough water, salt water, to cover the solution by 1 inch. Now see how the watermelon floats to the top. So obviously that means that air is gonna get in there. And what we're trying to do is we're creating an anaerobic condition. And so the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna make a lid out of some of the extra watermelon rind. So let me add a little bit of whey first, just to add some extra bacteria. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Now, you leave this in the solution, and every day you're supposed to open the lid to release the carbon dioxide, or else it might explode. But I also, because I have a fermentation lid, I can use the pump for the lid to help the air escape. Okay, so see, we have a nice seal in there actually. So there's gonna be water above the rind that we use as a lid, but everything's really sealed in there. I can tell when I put my fingers in there that it made like a nice little cap. And then we add the fermentation lid, and it's gonna create a seal. And then we check it every day, release the air. You can check it every day until you get the right sourness that you're looking for pickling. I guess 5 days is ideal, but you can see, until it's to your liking. Now, the other thing about the fermentation, that you can just pickle, but when you ferment, it means that it changes the bioavailability of some of the nutrients. So first of all, you're helping the bacteria grow, proliferate. And when bacteria grow, they themselves are a source of protein. So you actually get protein from your pickled watermelon rind. And apparently the bacteria also give off some enzymes. So that's another form of protein. They produce fat in their own metabolism. So we get some good fat from this. Not a lot, but we get some. And then they help break down the watermelon, and they release things that we consider anti-nutrients, which I'm not a fan of that word, but there are things that are in food which are actually protective for the food, like phytic acid. I can't think of another one, but phytic acid is one. And I know that when you ferment the watermelon rind, the phytic acid actually breaks down so it doesn't inhibit the absorption of certain nutrients. So there's a lot of reasons to ferment and pickle, and one is to make the most of your watermelon rind, one is to preserve it, and one is to help increase the nutrient absorption. And there is still some lycopene and other antioxidants in that rind, so we're getting the most bang for our buck. And then once your watermelon rind is to your liking, then you take the fermentation lid off and you put a regular lid on, and you put it in the fridge and eat it whenever. I guess it'll last forever, probably at least a year. Okay, in my promise to use every bit of the melon, even down to whatever juice is left, I thought that maybe the watermelon juice could be used as some kind of topical agent. And what spawned my thought process is Cindy Crawford's touting this cream made from this melon from France that has this enzyme in it. And I don't know if they mentioned the enzyme, but it's called superoxide dismutase. And it's actually something that our bodies make. And the enzyme is very either copper or selenium or zinc dependent. And so that's again why I emphasize eating the seeds of the melon to make your own superoxide dismutase from the inside. And when you get it in a food source, actually if we eat the food, we break down the enzyme so it's not really bioavailable. There's still some protective benefit because you're going to get protein from the enzyme. But with that thought in mind, I did find research that showed that some of the nutrients in watermelon and other similar fruits and vegetables have protective benefits, both inside and outside. So even though we don't have superoxide dismutase in watermelon, it's actually found in cantaloupe, honeydew, and cassava melon. But what we do have in watermelon is the lycopene and beta carotene, and both have been shown to protect your skin both internally and externally. It's like the equivalent of like an SPF 3, so there's some sun protection. And then I also wanted to think about when you have essential oils, you always have a carrier oil with the essential oil. And so in this case, I figure if we put watermelon on our skin, it's just going to evaporate. So an oil might be a good carrier for it. And there is research to show that olive oil and coconut oil alike have about the equivalent of an SPF 8. So maybe together we have an SPF 11 going on here. And so if you're driving to work, like in LA, we spend a lot of time in traffic, and especially our left arm is often exposed to the sun, and I don't use air conditioning. Well, my air conditioning doesn't work. So I thought this would make a nice little sunscreen to put on maybe my face and my arm, my driving arm, to protect me while I'm driving to work. And I feel so confident about my little solution here that I even wrote a rap about it. So now I'm off to work to earn some much needed Skrilla. Driving to work for me just ain't a thriller. The LA traffic can seem so amorphous, but during my commute I gotta keep in check my surface. Before I head out, I put this melon to the test. Rich in lycopene and free radicals will suppress a vitamin E fat oil will cover the rest. Sun damage? Depressed. Thank you for joining me, Elizabeth Brown, the Kitchen Vixen, on a food sciencey, fun cooking, life hacking journey. The Kitchen Vixen is out to save the world one recipe at a time. She's a superhero of sorts, and not the other kind of vixen.